is WESH. The news starts now.
A story of drinking and driving that should make every Florida driver absolutely furious. Examine the remains of this potential killer. You'll be looking under the bed and behind doors when you hear what he did to one local man. And a famous fellow with a birthday has big plans for Central Florida. Does he know something about local real estate we don't? Good evening and welcome. I'm Robin Chapman.
I'm Steve Rondinero. We begin tonight with a story with international implications. Right now, there's a busload of Central Florida Muslims on their way to Washington, D.C. Their message, stop the genocide in Bosnia. We have many developments on that front tonight. First off, thousands of Muslims tomorrow from across the nation will hold a rally in Washington. In Belgrade, a vote on a peace plan ends in a walkout, and President Clinton is lashing back at critics who say he doesn't seem to have a policy on Bosnia. Scott Hansen pulls it all together.
Hundreds of local Muslims pack up for a bus ride to Washington. They hope a rally will convince Bill Clinton to get arms to the beleaguered Bosnians.
We feel that there is a genocide going on of mainly Muslims. The statistics are really overwhelming.
But the president now is ruling out the possibility of the U.S. going it alone, making airstrikes against the Serbs. He wants it to be the UN's job. Critics say the president is now vacillating.
Well, I'd just like to ask you what their evidence is. I have a clear policy. I have gotten more done on this than my predecessor did, and maybe one reason he didn't try to do it is because if you can't force everybody to fall in line overnight, the people that have been fighting each other for centuries, you may be accused of vacillating. We are not vacillating. We have a clear, strong policy.
That's not how the Republicans see it.
I guess they just called a timeout and said, well, we'll get back to Bosnia later. There isn't any Bosnian policy now, notwithstanding what the president said.
Letting the Yugoslavians work it out themselves seems less likely. At this meeting to vote on the UN's peace proposal, Serbians walked out. They'll take a vote of the people over the weekend, but with few election controls, expect the result to be no, just what the Serb leaders want. Scott Hansen, 2 News.
There's a complicated picture. Muslim groups are also planning rallies in major cities throughout the U.S. tomorrow. They want the United States to supply arms to Bosnians so they can defend themselves against the Serbs.
On to a local story about drinking and driving. Kennison Garrison was arrested today and charged with DUI manslaughter. It was not his first experience with drinking and driving. Garrison is accused of causing the death of 4-year-old Lamont Williams in an accident on Monday. The child died when Garrison allegedly plowed into the pickup truck the boy's mother was driving. Blood tests showed that Garrison's alcohol level was .33. That's triple the legal limit, set at .10. He is a DUI veteran with 6 prior DUI convictions and 4 convictions for driving without a license. Police are out tonight looking for a man who robbed a Winn-Dixie last night. 2 men in masks broke into the grocery store through the roof. They were rough with the employees and they fired some shots at them. Police chased the stolen blue Hyundai and caught one of the men. 19-year-old Johnny Knight went to the hospital with a bullet wound. Police are ready to talk to him when he's ready. One employee says it is a day he will definitely not forget.
First they wanted to kill me, then they wanted to beat me up, and then they wanted to tie me up, and they didn't know what to do.
Now they put 2 rounds into the door while you were inside.
Right.
Did they come through?
Oh yeah, they came right through the door. Through the door.
What happened then?
Well, we were just on the ground all shaking and nervous. And
you think it's a miracle nobody got hurt?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we definitely were lucky. Real lucky.
What do you think about the fact one guy's still out there?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. How'd I get the guy? Sure do.
According to witnesses, the man who got away may have an assault rifle with him. The stolen money was recovered.
The hardest part of the William Lozano retrial may be over. They've picked a jury. It took a week, and that's not bad given the complexity and sensitivity of this case. A former Miami police officer, Lozano, was charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of 2 black motorcyclists in Miami. He was convicted once, but that conviction was later overturned. The shooting triggered riots in the streets of Miami in 1989. Given the racial tensions, the ethnic makeup of the jury has been controversial. These are the 6 people prosecutors and defense attorneys have agreed upon. It's 1 Hispanic woman, 1 Hispanic man, 1 black woman, 2 white women, and 1 white man. Opening arguments could begin on Monday. The trial is expected to run anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. One of these days, Danny Rolling will come to trial for the Gainesville student murders. The judge today agreed, however, to postpone the case from September 1st until January. Rolling's lawyer wants more time to prepare his defense. Danny Rolling is charged with 5 murders in Gainesville, college students, back in August of 1990.
A local man took a bite from a coral snake, and what is more surprising, he lived to tell about it. This is the carcass of the snake that bit 36-year-old David Herbert. It's 42 inches, and you might want to look at it carefully so you'll know not to ever do what David Herbert did.
They found the snake on the ground, and it was real pretty looking snake, and they thought it was, I think they said a king snake. And he reached down and actually picked the snake up.
Well, you want to take a look at it again? It appears he got a smaller than usual dose. Herbert remains, however, in the hospital. The venom of these snakes sometimes works slowly. If you'd like to know more about Florida snakes, we have a free brochure called Snakes Alive. Write Princeton Hospital, and you might mention our name. Their address is 1800 Mercy Drive, Orlando, 32808, or you can come by our studios in Winter Park or Daytona Beach and pick up that brochure. You weren't yelling "for" on the city golf course in Daytona Beach today, but eyes were skyward anyway. Take a look at this birdie. The pilot at the controls of the single-engine Woody was an Embry-Riddle student. When the engine gave out, the instructor took over, and they putt-putted to the 5th hole. As you can see, the pilot brought the plane in just short of a fence bordering busy Beeville Road. Going much farther could have been disastrous, certainly over par. Next time, they say, they'll take a caddy.
Bob Hope would have been proud of those puns. He has entertained millions on nearly every continent in every decade this century. From vaudeville to radio, TV, and the silver screen, and tonight Hollywood celebrated his 90th birthday, and that special you just saw here on Channel 2. Well, Bob Hope is one of few entertainers who can truly claim a marquee that reads living legend. But you may not know about his plans for a new attraction right here in Central Florida. Greg Fox has talked with Bob Hope during several visits to this area, and tonight reports on the making of what could be called Hope World.
Thanks for the memory of things I can't forget.
Hope-filled memories have graced Central Florida for years, a favorite pleasure and business stop for the entertainment world's reigning king. As legends go, there are none bigger. Bob Hope has made people laugh in every medium, in every decade this century. Our fighting men and women have been treated to USO Bob's timeless humor during 4 wars.
I just want you boys to see what you're fighting for, that's all.
No surprise this traveling man has plenty of collectibles to show off. And at this 1990 book signing stop, Hope told me he's getting it all together for a new local attraction. Maybe Hope World?
It'll be called either Hopeland or the Bob Hope Entertainment Center, something like that. Part museum and part entertainment center. Because I have a warehouse filled with material in North Hollywood that I've been gathering for the last 40 years, and it's a little heavy.
This is where many believed Hope would build, on 80 acres along International Drive near Disney. As you can see, though, this land is for sale. Now, I talked to the real estate agent handling the transaction for Bob Hope, and he says it's the entertainer's intent to sell this property and use the proceeds to buy a much bigger chunk of land to build his attraction. To this day, Hope World is still a mystery, even to theme park Big Cheese, Disney, which had been talking partnership with Hope.
Although his needs and desires weren't really made specific to